Yo, what's going on, yo? What's going on? Welcome back to another video, another episode. We're gonna be talking that vino once again, and I want to discuss a topic. All right, man. We're gonna do another 3 round burst. I want to discuss a topic that it seems like whenever I go to people's house, it seems like something they don't understand, they don't get. And that thing is, how long does wine last? And I'm gonna talk about that in a couple different ways, right? And the first thing I want to discuss is
Jeez, pause
how
that.
long does wine last after you open it? Now, generally, aside from a couple things, generally, before wine goes bad, I would say you got 4 plus days. Now, this depending on the type of wine it is, etc., etc. But 4 days where you can drink a wine and it's gonna still kind of taste like wine. It may be a very faint taste. It may just be and by faint I just mean a little touch of fruit and then really nothing else. No tannin, no grip in the inside of the cheeks. What I mean by the tannin. No really no flavor. It's lackluster flavor, but you still get a little alcohol. It won't kill you. It won't poison you. You won't have to go to the doctor next day. I'll generally say 4 days. Usually people say 3 to 4 days. I'll give you a stamp and say 4 days. That is the general consensus. When does wine start to take a turn and can start to go bad? Right. So I'll say at 4 days it starts to it takes a dramatic turn and goes off the damn cliff. By 7, you need to be throwing that thing away. You need to be throwing it away. And the reason I say this is I'll see people that'll have like a old these are non-drinkers, old Gallo bottle. And the Gallo bottle have a cork in it and they'll have half the bottle left. But it's been there like 3 weeks. That wine is bad. That wine is bad. It don't matter if it's Gallo. It could be Lafitte Rothschild. If it's 3 4 weeks, the wine's been open, a cork is in it, and half of it is gone. The wine is done. It's cooked. So unless you got that for decoration, I would definitely just toss that thing away. So I would say generally 4 days before the flavor profile completely disappears, but it's still drinkable. 7 days beyond, toss it. Toss it. Either get you a new bottle or buy something else. It just ain't worth it after that point. Now, I say generally because there are exceptions to the rule. I've heard from winemakers myself. I won't speak on the wine. But it was high end wine. They do several different tiers of wine between 20, 60 to up to 200. The one that's at 200, the winemaker said he would literally open the bottle and he would taste it every day for 7 days to see how much the fall off is. 7 days. And this is $200 wine. Again, that's what I was speaking on as a general rule. There's different levels to wine: tannin, aggression, sulfites. A lot of these things can make the wines last longer. So that's just taste testing for him. That's what he used to do. I wouldn't do it. Because if you didn't drink that thing in 4 days, what are you doing really? 5 days, what are you throw it away? Um, the exception to that rule is Tawny port wine. Tawny port wine is already an oxidized wine. If you go back to one of our previous videos, I discussed port. I discussed ruby port. And I discussed tawny port, ruby port. Um, you treat them like regular wines. 3 4 days, 4 days, and after that you got to turn. When hiring rubies, you don't even have that long. You might have a day before that thing goes. With Tawny ports, since Tawny ports are already oxidized in the barrel, technically they're already dead wines. I've discussed this in previous videos where I talk about Taylor port and just the popularity of port in general. Why it's my favorite. Um, It's actually my favorite drink, port and tequila. I don't mix them, two different things. They're actually are my favorite drinks. If I had to choose two things to drink, actually I have chosen two things to drink, and it's those two goddamn things. So um I think they're amazing. Tony Port is the way to go. But since Tony Ports are already oxidized, technically they're already dead wine. I've had Graham's 20-year port. I've bought that several times. It's about a $50 bottle. It's the only $50 bottle that I've purchased several times, and I will continue to purchase several times when I feel like it. I've talked about the value of wine and how feel about spending 40, 50, 60, 70, $100 on wine. I think it's slightly unnecessary, but of course, when you're in the business, you don't say that. Um, but it's like Gucci, Louis Vuitton. You want to buy a bottle of Camus, it's gonna be good for that $70, but you know, you get you a nice cotton shirt. The next thing I want to discuss is how do you tell if your wine is bad, right? So there's two things. Well, there's more than two things, but there's two main categories. That's what I'm saying. There's two main categories of this. The first category is when you first open the wine, right? When you first open wine, whether it's through cap or cork, and you pour it in that glass, this is one of the things that you look for. So you could tell how I want to explain it is when you open a wine versus after that 4 days, like I just discussed previously, that 4 or 5 days, the difference in the tail off that you'll smell in the wine, versus when you first open it. So when you first open it, you pour it in a glass. If you see the wine has a almost a brown tint to it, you can look in the glass and you're like, okay, this is not purple. This ain't red. This has a little brown tint
That
to it.
motherfucker.
That may be a little slight indication
Punishing that
that
motherfucker.
your wine could possibly
What?
be bad. The main thing, and it's hard to visualize, and it's not hard to explain. It's hard to visualize for a person when I say this, but once I actually smelled it, I got it. If the wine smells like cardboard, you'd be like, man, it smell like cardboard.
Take it
What the
out.
hell? Cardboard, everyone has smelled cardboard before, but it's a very particular, and somewhat, it's a faint smell if you just got a little bit of a box around you, you tet a box, and you smell it inside of that cardboard. It's not the outside of the box. Rip a box, smell it inside of that
Hey,
cardboard, of that box. That's the smell that you get. It's a very distinct smell. So that's why when it was explained to me, I got it. I somewhat got it instantly. Um, but that cardboard smell with the brown tint in the
booyah.
glass. It could be slightly brown, almost brown, and if it's slightly brown, the wine could still be good. I've had wines that a dying wine where I didn't get sick. It was still good, but you can feel and you can taste that it was falling off, that it was getting away. If the fruit was leaving,
Incompatible
and
state trying to
this
fuck with
cardboard
normal
smell,
motherfuckers that was
depending on how bad the wine is, can be overwhelming or it can just be slight. But the smell of cardboard, which is like I said, it may be weird to hear, but if you just get a box and you just rip the box and you smell like cardboard, when you smell it in a wine, you'll instantly know. You'll know every time. But if you just smell a wine and everybody knows cardboard smell like. But if you smell a wine and you just it don't tick in your head. Remember the last video I put out? It's about certain things that tick in your head. When I tried a Pinot Noir, it was I tasted a cherry Jolly Rancher, and cherry Jolly Ranchers is the only form of cherry that popped in my head because I'm not going popping damn cherries. I'm not eating damn jars of cherries. So the Jolly Rancher is the first kind of thing that popped up in my head. When you get this, you'll get the cardboard, and hopefully you'll be able to link it together. And like I said, it's not something you'll instantly get sick off. You won't be 360 vomiting, but there's a hint
X.
that the wine is actually going a little bad. The third thing is how long
Huh?
does wine last? Right now, In my business, my industry, you see a lot of people who get wine as gifts. Maybe it was inherited. Maybe it was just something they purchased, and they don't know how to properly store the wine, or the wine wasn't properly stored before they got to them, or it just isn't a wine that is to be stored. If you think about it from a business investment point, if I make a wine and it's fairly simple, I don't do a lot of oak aging. I may not do any oak aging at all, and it's $9, it's $12, it's $15. I am probably not making that wine for you to age it for 3, 4, 5 years. Like this is one of those common sense points that I like to point out to people. You buy a $10 wine, dude, you're not gonna age it for 10 years. It's just no, it don't work like that. Things don't work like that. Nothing works like that. Cheap product, and I'm saying cheap because it's $9, $10 wine. Cheap product, it's just not gonna last like that. It's just not gonna go like that. So um if you have a screw cap wine, screw caps seal the wine. No air goes in, no air goes out. Air, oxygen, is what ultimately evolves your wine. That's why when people lay their wines down, they sit their wines down. It's the air that evolves the wine. Just like when you pour it in the glass, you have to let it open. But it's also going to be the thing that ultimately kill the wine. If you have a screw cap, no air is going in, no air is going out. That thing's going to stay the same, and then it's just going to go bad. There's no uplift for it. It's going to spoil in the glass. Um, so you need to know what you're buying, what you're investing, and what you're purchasing, what you have. And the last thing I want to kind of tell people is how to store wine. Putting it on your kitchen counter ain't gonna help. It ain't gonna do nothing. Your kitchen, the temperature is up and down. It's hot. It's cold, of course, is what I mean. And a lot of times it's real hot. Weather affects your wine. The cork being wet or constantly being wet, it affects your wine. The cork dries out, air gets in, it kills the wine. The best place to store your wine is in a closet. If you don't have a cellar, if you don't have a wine fridge, the best place to store it is in the closet. The closet is dark because also light affects your wine. Wine, I see this sign all the time. I see it everywhere. Whenever I go to wine stores, wine ages and spoils like milk. Treat the wine like milk. You ain't got 3 days or 5 days like milk. Some milks do. But treat it like milk. Temperature stable, but the milk don't fucking. I don't know. I've never put milk in the sun, but temperature stable, light stable. I think the closet is the best place to keep my wine in the closet. I've had wine in the closet for years. Nothing is wrong with it. It comes out, drink it beautiful. You need to be temperature stable, and light stable. Um, if you plan on aging it for a year or just holding it for a year, like I'm not aging anything. I just have some bottles where I don't want to open it unless it's in somewhat of a special occasion. You know what I mean? That's why I want to open good bottles that I have that I've been given or however else I get them. I want to. I only open them when it's a dinner or something like that. I don't. I, Sometimes I may just get bored. I got a burger. You pop open an expensive bottle. That's all I got to drink. I just feel like drinking, so that's what it is. But um, the closet. Get your a wine box. I have two wine boxes in the closet. I put the wine in there, leave it in there. The cork only needs to be wet all the time. If you plan on aging for years and years and years, you can keep this good practice. You can lean if you got just a couple bottles in a big 12 count box. You can lean those bottles over, just kind of get the cork wet if you want to. But you kind of you really don't need to. But when it comes to actually aging wine, um, I would say that you would need all the necessary things. You plan on keeping something for 10 years, the closet is not for you. Get you a wine fridge and just do the right thing. Everybody can't, build a damn cellar. So don't worry about that. Get you a nice wine fridge. There's 12 bottle, 6 bottle, 8 bottle, 20 bottle wine fridges that are relatively cheap. They be under 300, under 200. I've seen you get some really good deals on wine fridges. So to just go over everything and the care of wine and how long does wine last. Um, the first thing, well, the second thing, where did we go over? Jesus Christ, I missed everything already. So the second thing is about the color of the wine, the smell, the cardboard. How you know if it's gone bad? Look for that cardboard. Look for that brown tint in the glass. That's a huge indicator that your wine is going bad. All wine is not meant to be aged, so be careful on how you keep your wine, where you keep your wine, and um, and just know you're buying a $10 bottle, you're buying a $15 bottle. It's probably not gonna last 15 years. So, know what you're investing in, know what you're getting into, and I will holler.
My goodness.
Thanks, guys.
Land smacketh down.